Today I'm here to share with you about how self-aware data security is forging ahead to become the next frontier of cybersecurity. So, to start off with, let's talk about the evolving data landscape. What's happening today? So, let's start off with talking about data sprawl. All right, this is basically where organizations today face a challenge where data is now residing everywhere, right? You have data that is located in your data centers. You are using cloud services like AWS, Google, or Microsoft. You are having data sitting in your employees' laptops, desktops. Data is now fragmented and sprawled across many different data sources. We also look at the explosion of generative AI, right? A lot of organizations today are actually adopting or innovating their workforce with enabling them to use tools like generative AI. We also see existing regulatory governances evolving to keep up with today's technology landscape, and that in turn puts pressure on organizations to quickly adapt to ever-changing regulatory compliances. And lastly, we also see that companies are experiencing security stack fatigue, right? They are looking at still practicing things like defense and dev, deploying many different solutions, but experiencing operational fatigue by managing a lot of different solutions and experiencing inefficiencies, right? So let me just give you a scenario of a day in the life of how sensitive data can travel. We have a sales representative called John. He comes into work in the morning. He logs into his Salesforce to generate a report. He gets a copy of it into his local computer. He uploads that file to SharePoint to share and collaborate with his team. He then uses ChatGPT to then analyze the report to get some key market insights, for example. And at the end of the day, he shares that across email and Slack, right, to external parties. So what just happened there, right? This single event has caused a data explosion, so to say, right? If you look at it, sensitive information from that initial report from Salesforce, personal information, could be intellectual property as well, right? Downloaded to a local machine, prompted, shared in SharePoint, and then prompted to ask for information and analyze it in ChatGPT, and then shared across email, right? That single event has made this data proliferated across many different channels just within minutes, right? And how are you actually making sure that you're governing the use of your sensitive data properly? A couple of years ago, data security was all about discovering, monitoring, and protection, but that is not enough today already, right? Data security now needs to expand to areas like classification, prioritization, and remediation of your intellectual property or your sensitive data, all right? And these 5 phases are essential in any organization, all right? Any organization will always look to have some form of control, right, within their perimeter, or even some sanctioned cloud applications. They want to be able to protect their crown jewels first. And then they would decide to see how they can enrich that framework or platform by looking at things like discovering further what they are keeping within their environments, right? Applying a sensitivity label to them, and then prioritizing what that they need to protect. Yeah. So a proper approach to data security requires or essentially recommends all these different phases, but it's not necessarily in this exact sequence, but it is crucial to have these 5 steps implemented in a data security program to make sure it's effective. So we talk about self-aware data security, right? What does it mean by self-aware data security? It is essentially a way for a data security framework or tool to be more proactive in detecting intellectual property or sensitive data by form of automation or innovation using even tools like generative AI. And we do that by looking at these 6 different areas, right? These 6 different areas are talking about things like behavioral analysis, right? We analyze anomalies in data movement. We look at user behavior, understanding the context of how users are interacting with their data on a daily basis, whether they are acting as normal or they are exhibiting high-risk behavior. We implement things like posture control to ensure like principles of least privileges, giving only required access to data that users are supposed to be entitled to. We innovate using things like AI, all right, to help organizations perform inventory of all their different catalogs, right, much rapidly. We have a streamlined way of doing incident workflow, right, making sure that all the different areas that an organization is looking at, right, whether it be from the endpoint to the cloud to the web to the email, are all governed under a single pane of glass, right? And not forgetting, just also to educate the employees itself, not just putting a control there and disrupting their daily work. You need to educate them on proper handling of data itself, right? And how we achieve all these 6 different areas is we look at what we call data security everywhere, right? Data security everywhere, we want to be able to see all the different areas, like I mentioned, all the different areas that where organizations are actually placing or their data, and have a consolidated set of controls across all these different areas, not managing multiple solutions, right? And having, again, like I mentioned, security fatigue, security solution fatigue, all right? At the same time, like the second thing is enabling the safe use of generative AI, all right? We want to allow companies to innovate and continue to progress their services, right, by using generative AI. Again, streamlining compliances across the different business units, organization units that you need to do, and helping them reduce fragmented solutions by helping them consolidate all these different architectures by providing an integrated ecosystem. All right? And with that, this is how self-aware data security can help organizations to improve their security posture. All right?
Thank you, Mr. Terrence Tan, for that valuable presentation. And let's take a quick look at the visual evaluation. There you go. Let's just take one takeaway from this. How to ensure data security? There's a 5-step process. Okay. Thank you very much once again, Mr. Terrence Tan.
Your security team works hard to keep sensitive, regulated data safe from bad actors. But cyber attacks aren't the only threat to your data security. Simple errors and malicious actions can both cause sensitive data to become exposed to public access, and you might not realize it's happening until it's too late. An employee working on a project with potentially sensitive information may create a link to share with everyone in the organization, meaning every single employee and contractor can provide access to anyone with the link. This decision creates hidden data risk over time. The link can provide unauthorized access if it's emailed to the wrong recipient or retained by someone no longer with the company. These data risks will continue to snowball if the underlying problem goes unaddressed. Forcepoint Data Security Posture Management solves this problem by providing visibility and control for data at rest throughout your organization, across cloud and on-premises locations. Employing rapid discovery and AI-powered classification, Forcepoint DSPM identifies over-permissioned files, helping you eliminate data risk, enforce the principle of least privilege, and improve your data security posture. Go to forcepoint.com/DSPM to see how you can fix the risk of over-permissioned data in your organization today.